touch. You got the touch.
This is Stan Bush, and this epic video from Optibotimus truly has the touch.
This is Optibotimus coming with another video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Unique Toys Warhawk. Now, two different companies are doing remakes of the old Predacons, and this is the one that I decided to pick up. The other company being Mastermind Creation. Now, the reason I went with Unique Toys is because this is a much more kind of G1 look for, well, Divebomb. I'm not a big fan of the stylized look that MMC is really going for in their not Predaking. So this was the one that I was more interested in. And as you can see with the box, you got the nice grid, you got a really nice image here. And it continues on to the side here of Warhawk, otherwise known as Divebomb. You got 3-in-1 beast to robot. 3-in-1 meaning he's got a beast mode, a robot mode, although RP bot. Okay, and he's got a limb mode, and then you got an image of the toy right there. Come around here to the back, and here you see the three different modes. Obviously the beast, robot, and the arm mode. It says transform from eagle to robot, and as well as the arm for the warlord. So apparently, Predaking is called Warlord. Now the little bio here on the back, it's a little confusing and I don't really understand it. It says, no member of the Warhawk has struggled with a sense of identity quite like Warhawk. So I don't understand, if his name is Warhawk, why is he a member of the Warhawks? It's confusing. It's been a millennia since he replaced his name with that of one of the few airborne robots. Okay, again, who do you replace his name with? That doesn't make sense. So insecure was he that he refused to share the air with an enemy, choosing instead to disgrace his opposite number and try to adopt a new identity for himself. So, to buy it, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand anything about it. It's confusing. And then it says, can be combined with other Beasticon members to form Warlord Giant Robot Mode. One of the biggest things, I mean, that may make perfect sense, except in Chinese, when they translate it over to English, it just doesn't make as much sense. So that's one of the unfortunate aspects of getting one of these figures. It does one thing that's interesting. There's no warning or anything. A lot of these packages have warnings and stuff on them, but that's about it for the box. You got a nice image up here, and that obviously is kind of what Warlord is going to look like, kind of, sort of. So that's really kind of cool looking. I dig it. But like I said, this is the version of Predaking that I decided to go with out of the new third-party companies. So let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Warhawk open up and out of its packaging. In addition to the figure, you also do get the instructions, which are in the form of a comic, which really kind of tell a story of how he's not really remembering what's going on, that apparently he was attacked by the Dinobots or something similar to the Dinobots, him escaping, and then it being continued. Then you got the instructions here on actually how to transform him, and it comes with the standard third-party collector card that all third parties are really kind of coming with, except this one is cut very badly. It's like somebody cut it with their hands or something, and you can see that it's really kind of weirdly shaped here at the bottom. But you got all of his tech specs, and regardless, I still appreciate when any company comes out and gives us a collector card. Just adds to the overall value, I think. But as for the figure itself, one thing that I really wanted in a not Predacon was a very G1 look, and this absolutely captures that. It's basically just an updated G1 figure. Now, for comparison, here he is, and here's the G1 version, and again, you can see where the inspiration for this guy comes from, except he's not as big. This is a very big and bulky sort of figure. He also has die-cast. This doesn't have any die-cast. But you can absolutely see the resemblance here, despite the fact that, as I said, the G1 version is a fairly significantly bigger figure than the new Unique Toys one. But as you can see, very similar look and design, and that's absolutely what I love about this. Now, the fact that he's basically everything that I would want in an updated kind of G1-esque Divebomb, he does still have some problems, I suppose.
The biggest being is his chest piece here, which I could cover in robot mode, but you can see it here, so I might as well talk about it here in beast mode. Now, I don't know how well this is coming across on camera, but as soon as I opened this, I instantly got a whiff of the smell of spray paint. And that's exactly what it appears that this entire chest piece is painted in. Everything else is this nice molded plastic for the most part. But this, it literally looks like they just spray painted it, and that's what they used to color it. You can see some actually flaking off here on the front. I don't know how well it's come across, but all the way around, it's bleeding through as if it's like they just put paper around it when they were doing it, and then on an assembly line just spray painted it. And that's really kind of very ugly, if you ask me. Now, there's other paint applications, but none of them look as bad as what we have on the chest. That's just really kind of ugly looking. One of the most amazing parts about this is that because it is more of an updated figure to the G1, it does have added articulation. For example, the wings actually can move forward and back, unlike the original that just could move out like so. They also do bend here, and then each of these are individually articulated, so you can actually spread these out, which is really very cool. I love that little touch. Obviously, you can move them forward and back. I mean, you really could do that on the G1 as well. There's not too much articulation that's added in this mode, beside the fact that you can get him flapping his wings. I mean, that's really about it. His feet do have some articulation in the talons and such. Each one is individually articulated, so you can move that around. His tail still flops back and forth. That doesn't have individual articulation. And then there are some smudges here. I don't know how well that's coming across. You got a little bit right there. You got a little bit right there. Again, it's just I guess QC issues. It's not as perfect as some of the other third-party figures that we've gotten, but generally speaking, I really do like this guy. Now, first transfer, and he also, I mean, his head does move up and down, and then you got the mouth, which also does move, much like the G1 toy actually did. And then I guess you can make him turn left and right. That's just because the head underneath him is actually on a ball joint, but that's something that the G1 figure didn't have. So to transform them, what you really do, just kind of straighten these out, move these any way that you want to display them, come around here to the legs, kind of fold this tail back a little bit, bring these talons together, pull out his feet just like so, and then rotate his waist all the way around, bring down his feet here just like so. And again, you're seeing a very similar transformation to what we got with the G1 toy. Not a lot is really all that different with this. Then you take these arms, kind of pull them out, pull them all the way out like so, bring them down, fold out the hands, do that on this side as well, pull this out, pull it down, extend it out, fold out the hand just like so, and then bring the head back, and boom, you have Warhawk or Divebomb or whatever you want to call him in his actual robot mode. Now, one of the problems is when you get these wings, if you keep them back like so, it really kind of makes them back heavy, so you really have to keep them a little bit more straight on like so, and that makes it a little bit better for his balance. You can get him to stand, but you can definitely see that, well, he's leaning a little bit. Let me actually angle him forward a little bit more. You do get a back issue here because of the big giant back bits on him, but he still stands fairly nicely. And then again, you got the chest piece, which I showed off, and that's just kind of ugly, I suppose. But this is where the figure really shines and stands apart from the old G1 toy. Again, his articulation is much improved. The head, like I said, is on a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion with it, left, right, up, down, all that kind of stuff. The arms will rotate, if you have them pulled out all the way. They rotate here at the shoulder, move up and down. They also bend at the elbow. There is no rotation anywhere in his arm, which does kind of suck. I will be honest, that's one thing that I really wish it actually had. It's not terrible, and it's something that I'm able to kind of live with, I guess, but for the most part, I really do wish that level of articulation was kind of added to him, just because you can get a much more dynamic look and pose for him. I mean, it's just something that is kind of a standard now in a lot of Transformers, and you kind of get used to it, I guess. He also does rotate at the waist, well, actually at two parts at the waist, at the upper abdomen area, and then at the actual waist area. The hips here are on ball joints, so you get them moving forward and back. They also do rotate here at the upper part of the thigh, so you can get his, oh, well, that's probably not good. So there we go. And that just pegs right in there, so that's not that bad. So that rotates there. Let's see, does that part pop off? But there you have those bits right there. You got his knees bending, and then you got a little bit of pivot in the foot. Now, one thing that I do want to comment on is that it is said that these are made by the same company that actually was responsible for the knockoff Seekers. Now, whether or not that is true, I'm not 100% sure. I can see where it happens, or where that's true, because I do kind of have that same feel when I feel this particular plastic. It's not a bad feel. Those high quality knockoff Seekers, for example, were wonderfully done, and this really does follow that same kind of quality feel. But as you can see with the thigh panel popping out, that's something that I just recently discovered, as well as the paint issues here in the chest. You can definitely get a feel that this is not an official product, and hopefully Unique Toys really kind of pays attention to these small little details, because I really like this figure, and I think it has a wonderful aesthetic for him. Now, he also does come with a sword. He doesn't come with any guns, which does kind of suck. The G1 toy came with guns, and I love this sword. This sword is really very cool looking. But again, when you put it in his arm, because you don't have any of the rotation bits in any part of his arm, you're kind of stuck with him just holding it like so. And that's really kind of blah, if you ask me. You don't get that many dynamic poses. Now, for a comparison, I'm going to just straighten him out so he's standing properly. For a comparison, as I said, here he is. And here you have him next to the G1 figure. And again, big size difference. The G1 versions of the Predacons, they were just absolutely massive. And as you can see, this guy really is dwarfed by him. But it's such a nice update to what we got previously. I mean, aside from the issues that I have with it, I absolutely love this figure. Now for a few other size comparisons, here he is next to the recent Fall of Cybertron Voyager class Grimlock, and as you can see, he's definitely more in the deluxe scale range. I just brought out Grimlock because in the story, apparently they're attacked by the Dinobots, so here's a Dinobot. But here he is next to one of the kind of iconic classic molds, that being the Seeker, and as you can see, he is definitely a very deluxe size figure. I mean, at the head, they're about the exact same height, except you have the giant eagle head here kind of sticking up, which makes him look a little bit taller, but they are at the head roughly exactly the same height. Maybe Warhawk is a little bit taller, but really not by much at all. And again, for me, this is a wonderful scale, especially since these guys are going in my classic display. Now to transform them back, again, very simple. Just fold up the feet just like so. Rotate this around, bring the head down. I'm doing a whole bunch of different things all at once. I mean, it's not a complicated transformation. If you have the G1 transformer, it's almost transforming the exact same way. Fold these little bits up, stick those in, put that in like so, kind of squeeze that together nicely, bring these two halves together and just kind of tab them together. Rotate, oh no, that was already rotated around, duh. So keep these together and then just squish these up. That brings the talon bits out. Fold these down, and here you have him back in his eagle mode. Now, he does have his arm mode, and I've been kind of debating whether or not I'm going to show that in this video, because all my combiner videos, I kind of wait for the full-on combiner. And I did just decide that I'm going to do the exact same thing. We're going to wait for all of these figures to come up before we do the full-on Warlord. It gives you something to look forward to. But he does come with Warlord's hand. Now, this is also something I don't particularly like. I don't like these big giant spikes. Now, for a comparison, here's the G1 hand. I love the fact that it carries this kind of over with the spikes here, and I love the fact that it gives them this kind of like eagle talon look. But the other thing is, every finger is like the exact same length, and that really throws me off when you stretch it all the way out. Everyone is the exact same length, and honestly, it almost looks like this one is a little bit longer. No, that's just an angle that it's on. But the thing that sucks is that fingers should not be like that. I mean, when you look at a hand, it's the longest finger, you know, I mean, and then it goes down. I mean, it really, and then the pinky should be like the smallest. So it really kind of throws me off with them being the exact same size. That's something that I just think that they should have paid a little bit more attention to in terms of the realism, I suppose. But I do like the hand nonetheless. All the fingers are individually articulated. The actual fingers here are on ball joints. The thumb isn't. It just swivels back and forth, but it's got 2 joints right there. So really very nice. And then the connector bit is on a ball joint as well. I really dislike these spike things, and then I guess the finger length is just kind of a nitpick for me. It's just more or less these spikes that I don't want on here. Now, I know I originally said that I wasn't going to include this, but I wanted to show this off because while I was actually working on this video, I went and actually saw that my friend Balt Matrix did his review on this. And I wanted to clarify some things because I really don't think that he gave a very fair look at this figure. Now, again, I'm not saying that this one is far superior to the Mastermind Creation one, but I think his review kind of put this one in a negative light. The first thing that I want to talk about is these wing bits. One of his complaints was he was worried about GPS, gold plastic syndrome. Now, for those of you that don't know what it is, that was something that Hasbro experimented with, where they basically mixed 2 different kind of plastics and used it to kind of create a gold plastic. A lot of those particular figures were very brittle. The cohesion between those 2 different types of plastics didn't work too terribly well, and it made the plastic brittle and they would randomly fall apart. These are not GPS or gold plastic syndrome sort of wings. These are actually just straight up plastic wings that are painted gold. So GPS is not something that we have to worry about because it's not the actual material that's used to make the plastic. It's just a spray paint. That's all this is. So that should be something that you're not even really concerned about. He also had a problem with his head where it was very loose. I honestly think that while he was doing it, the eagle head actually came detached. You can sort of see it pegs in on the side here, and it's actually kind of hard to get off. But you can see mine does not have, I mean, it's a ball joint. I mean, it's not a floppy mess like his was. I honestly think that he separated the eagle head from the regular head, and it made it a whole lot more loose. So I don't think that that's something that people really should have to worry about either. The other thing is the wings. Now, they do detach for the Warlord mode, and I didn't want to wait to show that off in my Warlord review because a lot of people are thinking that this is very brittle. My apologies to you, Spada, but I really think that you were a little bit too much, you manhandled it a little bit too much. And that's quite possibly why your tab broke. Now, I'm going to show you how to transform him into his arm mode just because that's part of the process. But as you can see, mine are very secure. They don't droop down. Well, it does there, but I mean, I'm shaking the crap out of it. I mean, that's naturally going to happen. But they stay up perfectly fine. And if you want to fix that, you could probably use clear fingernail polish or super glue to tighten that. But to actually get him into his arm mode, my recommendation is not to just pull on these. Bring these down and then just slowly bend it till they pop off. And in doing so, I have not had any stress marks on any of these tab bits at all. There's no breakage, nothing like that. So just slowly bring those down. Then what you want to do, stretch these out like so, fold up the connector bit right there, and then this is actually a little bit tricky to do. Gotta get in here, lift these arms out, and then you rotate this torso bit all the way around, just like so. And then when you do it, tuck these back in and peg these inside just like he was in the actual eagle mode. And basically here you have his arm. Now, bringing out his hand, what you need to do is separate the legs, and then these just tab in on the inside here, just like so, and bring that together, just like so. Rotate that around, and here you have his arm mode, and depending on which way you want to really kind of position this, I guess you could do it like this. That's the official way. You got the connector bit right here, you got an elbow joint, and then it rotates, and then the ball joint on the wrist allows for a nice range of motion. Now, for a size comparison, here this is, and here's the G1 version. And as you can see, one thing that does kind of change is that the arm does actually get a little bit bigger for the new Warlord version. And I think it looks a whole lot better. It's a lot more sleek. This one is very bulky. I mean, I still have no problem with this one, but this one just looks a lot more sleek in my opinion.
And I really do like the way this figure is. One other thing, and he showed this off in his video, and I really think it does this a disservice, and these actually slide down for whatever reason, I'm not sure. He showed this and how it doesn't attach to the Mock Toys or Make Toys Giant. And honestly, I think that's an unfair criticism of this because it's made by a different company. They're different combiners. I'm sure people would probably ask about that, but and again, I'm trying not to sound too critical of Spada's review because, as I said, he is a friend of mine and I do enjoy watching his videos. I just don't think that was a very effective comparison because they're made by different companies, and I don't think that warrants a negative mark against this figure. And I personally felt that you gave it a negative mark, and I just don't think that was warranted. But here you have the guy's arm, and I still actually really like it. For me, it's a wonderful kind of G1 update to those original G1 toys, without taking too many liberties on the look of them. This is really impressive to me. Now, I'm not saying that the MMC one isn't going to be as impressive, just personally, for me, the style on this one just appeals much more to me than the MMC one does. And that being said, I would absolutely highly recommend picking this up. But know that some of the QC issues on here aren't exactly perfect. But he does have a solid feel and looks terrific. Now, if you are interested in picking this guy up, as well as pre-ordering the other whatever they're calling them figures for the Warlord, go ahead and click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store. You can pick this guy up and lock yourself in for those other Predacons that are coming out. I really do think that this figure is worth taking a look at and hopefully finds a place in your collection. But that's about it, guys. So until next time, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Keep in touch with me. Find out recent purchases as well as all upcoming video reviews all at facebook.com/teambotimus, and follow me over on Twitter at twitter.com/optibotimus. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.